Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every single word you speak must be sung. No casual, "Hey, how's it going?" at the coffee shop. No muttering under your breath when you stub your toe. Every conversation, every argument, every awkward small talk moment with your coworker now requires a melody, harmony, and possibly a key change. Sounds like a Broadway fever dream, right? Well, buckle up, because we're diving into what would actually happen if humans could only communicate through songs. Spoiler alert, it would be equal parts beautiful chaos and logistical nightmare. Let's start with the science of why this would be monumentally difficult. Human speech evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to be efficient, fast, and flexible. We can convey complex ideas in seconds using a combination of syntax, tone, and context. Singing, on the other hand, requires sustained pitch, rhythm, and often repetition to maintain musicality. Studies in neurolinguistics show that speech and music are processed in overlapping but distinct areas of the brain. The left hemisphere handles most language tasks, while musical processing engages both hemispheres, particularly the right side for melody and emotion. If we suddenly had to sing everything, our brains would be working overtime to coordinate linguistic meaning with musical structure. You'd basically be forcing your brain to run a marathon while solving a Rubik's Cube. Good luck ordering a pizza without composing a 3-minute aria about pepperoni. Now, let's talk about the social dynamics, because this is where things get hilarious and slightly terrifying. Imagine trying to break up with someone, but you have to do it in song. Or picture a job interview where both you and the interviewer are belting out your qualifications like you re-auditioning for a talent show. Research on nonverbal communication tells us that about 70 to 93% of communication is nonverbal, relying on body language, facial expressions, and tone. Singing would amplify emotional expression to an extreme degree. Every minor disagreement would feel like a dramatic duet from a soap opera. Your friend forgetting to text you back, cue the heartbroken ballad. Someone cutting you off in traffic, that's a full-on rock anthem with their guitar. Social norms around emotional restraint would collapse, and society would become a never-ending musical theater production. Frankly, introverts would probably just stop talking altogether and communicate exclusively through interpretive dance. The economic and logistical implications are where this experiment truly falls apart. Think about emergency services. A 911 operator trying to get critical information from a caller who est singing their address in the style of Gregorian chant. Absolute chaos. Air traffic controllers coordinating flights through operatic recitatives. Planes would be circling runways for hours. The modern world runs on speed and clarity, and singing is neither of those things. A study from the University of California found that singing takes roughly 3 to 4 times longer than speaking the same sentence, depending on tempo and complexity. That means your average workday would extend to 24 or 30 hours just to get through the same amount of communication. Productivity would nosedive. The global economy would collapse. And don't even get me started on automated customer service lines. Press 1 for billing would become a 5-minute jingle you'd have to endure every single time you called your bank. But let's be real, it wouldn't be all bad. There's something oddly beautiful about a world where every interaction is musical. Psychological research shows that music has profound effects on mood, bonding, and even pain tolerance. Singing releases endorphins and oxytocin, the so-called love hormone, which promotes social connection. Arguments might still happen, but they probably end faster because it's hard to stay genuinely angry when you're re-harmonizing with someone. Imagine walking through a city where every conversation is a spontaneous concert. Street vendors singing their prices, couples serenading each other on park benches, even strangers joining in impromptu choruses at bus stops. It would be exhausting, sure, but it would also be weirdly wholesome. We'd probably develop whole new genres of music just for mundane tasks. Grocery shopping, hip-hop, tax filing, blues, existential crises, indie folk. So, could humanity actually survive if we could only communicate through songs? Scientifically, our brains could adapt over time, but the transition period would be absolute pandemonium. Socially, we'd become more emotionally expressive, but also more dramatic and possibly more annoying. Economically, we'd have to completely restructure how we work, travel, and interact. But hey, at least every day would have a killer soundtrack. In the end, this thought experiment reminds us just how extraordinary human language is. We take for granted the ability to quickly, efficiently, and flexibly share ideas. Singing is beautiful, but it's also slow, elaborate, and utterly impractical for most of daily life. So next time you have a boring conversation about the weather, just be grateful you don't have to turn it into a power ballad.